Welcome to episode 11 of the Mother Gaia Birthy pod. I'm Katy, your host, and today I am joined by the incredible Victoria Ann, who shares her empowering and positive unmedicated birth story. Victoria's journey is a testament to the strength, intuition and resilience of women when they feel informed and supported during pregnancy and birth. In our conversation, we also touch on the gaps in education around birth and pregnancy, how many women feel unprepared for some of the physical and emotional changes they face. From surprising symptoms to the importance of knowledge and support, this episode is a beautiful reminder of the power of preparation and trust in the process. Whether you're pregnant, planning a birth, or just love uplifting stories, this episode will leave you inspired and connected to the magic of birth. We start our conversation with Victoria Ann telling me how old her baby is. You've just said that your baby was born, beginning February, did you say?
Yep, February 11th.
Yep. Oh, wow, cool. Pisces then, yes?
He's actually at the end of the cusp of an Aquarius, almost a Pisces.
Oh, I was so close.
Yeah, super close.
And did you have a boy or a girl?
I had a boy. His name is Alexander.
Oh, so lovely name. I like that name.
Thank you.
So tell us sort of like kind of from the beginning then. So were you planning on having a baby? Was this that all kind of like how did it start really?
Okay, well, so I met my boyfriend through a mutual friend a couple years ago, and we had always talked about wanting to start a family. It was nothing that was like really at the forefront of our plans, but we always knew that we wanted to become parents. And we actually found out on Father's Day of 2023 that I was pregnant with Alex.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I had my first positive pregnancy test on Father's Day. So it wasn't that he was planned. He was a surprise, but it was a good surprise. It was an okay surprise. So I kind of felt a little nervous, rightfully so, going into my pregnancy because of that fact, because we weren't like, okay, now's a good time to have a baby, and I didn't get to like mentally prepare myself for being pregnant. So it was kind of just like, you've always wanted to be a mom, here you go. And I'm like, oh, okay, wait, okay, so now my body's going to change and now I'm going to start feeling stuff, and it's like I didn't really get time to plan for that. But I'm a huge believer in manifestation and mantras and things like that. So throughout my entire pregnancy, I spoke to Alex every day. And I used to stand in front of, we have like a full length mirror in our closet. And I used to rub my belly at night. And I used to say like, it's you and me. Like, my body is not going to give me anything that I can't handle. And we're just going to make this as smooth as possible, because we're one. Right. Yeah. So we're one unit. So I just always used to talk to him like, this is going to be a smooth birth. We're going to do this naturally. I always made a joke with him. I used to say, you're going to go long, like you're going to shoot out. You're going to go long. I'm going to have your dad go long, like catching a football, and you're going to shoot out. And sure enough, he was actually born on Super Bowl Sunday, 4 minutes before kickoff.
Oh,
so
nicely timed.
He really did.
Yeah.
He made my husband go long. But yeah, I kind of got thrown into pregnancy, even though it was something that I had always wanted, but it definitely did not take the fear out of it whatsoever. That's for sure. Yeah.
It is that thing as well. I think we find that we don't really talk about it until we're either going through it or after we've been through it. So even us as women as general, we kind of know the mechanics of it and how to get pregnant. You'll have a bump and then a baby will come out, but the actual things of everything else you don't really talk about. You don't get told about it. It's not something that you go to school and they tell you in sex ed or anything like that. That it's just like, oh yeah, you get pregnant, you go to hospital, you come out with a baby, and that's like no, that's not how that happens.
I learned so much when I was pregnant. I mean, even from like the different like hot flashes, feeling hot at 1 second and then like freezing the next, or like the different body changes, like just my like the way my nipples changed and my whole breasts swelled, and the way that it felt like I actually, my first pregnancy symptom was my breasts. And I remember telling my husband, I was like, I feel like, did you like elbow me in the middle of the night? Like, did you punch me really hard? Because like, this has been sore for a couple days. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then sure enough, it was getting ready for baby. But yeah, they really don't tell you about the symptoms. That, like you said, it's just like, yeah, get pregnant, 9 months, have baby, here you go. And it's like, there's so much more to that than pregnancy and giving birth in that. It's insane.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So did you kind of have a fairly straightforward pregnancy? Any hiccups, or was it just, other than obviously your learning curve?
Okay. No, I mean, I had a pretty healthy pregnancy for the most part. He was born at 39 and 1, so 39 weeks in a day. My biggest thing was my labor. My labor was actually, well, let me rephrase this, because as a mom, it depends who you ask. So if you ask me, my labor was super quick and wonderful, and I would totally do it again. If you ask my husband, it was 4 days of complete and utter terribleness and me crying and throwing up and doing all that. But looking back on it, it's like, but we got this, and it just makes it worth it. It's so weird how that works.
Yeah.
But I knew from the time before I got pregnant, I've always wanted to have an unmedicated birth. I have I don't want to say fear, because it's not a fear, but I didn't want to bring my son into the world, into a hospital where so much sickness happens and death happens. I just really wanted him to come into the world in a place where it's like, all we do here is just like life. Like, it's just life, happiness, bright, like you do things on your own side, on your own time, like very hands off. And I remember going to one of my first OBGYN appointments, and I was like, I'm really scared of the pain of labor and like not getting an epidural, even though it's something I don't want. But like, obviously there's still a fear around it, because having a baby hurts. It's inevitable. It hurts. So, my midwife at the time, he said to me, and I'll never forget this, he was like, when you hurt yourself in any other instance, it's pain, right? So like, you fall down, ow, you hurt. You break an arm, it's like, oh man, like that didn't hurt 3 seconds ago, but it hurts really bad right now. With birth, it's not like that. It's like gradual into intense pain. So it's like from a period cramp to a little more intense period cramp to oh my God, this really hurts, but look, we've made it this far. So like, okay, it's obviously coming to be something. And then at the peak of the pain, it's pain with a purpose. So it's not something that's going to last forever. It's not something that's going to take 6 weeks to heal. Like, yes, you're in immense pain right now, but just give it a couple hours and you'll see the most beautiful gummy smile you've ever seen in your entire life. And it's like, just having that mentality and like grounding myself in that belief, but also like confidence within myself that this is something that I'm capable of, and it is pain with a purpose, and it will come out better on the other side. And I speak with friends who've had tough pregnancies and kind of go along that same mantra where it's like, okay, like this may be tough right now, and it may be 9 months worth of terribleness, but at the end of all of this is like the most beautiful gift you can't even imagine. I'm like choking up just talking about it. Like, you can't even imagine how beautiful the end result of all of it is. It's like, it's worth everything. And to kind of circle back, it goes back to my labor story. Like, if you ask me, it was great. If you ask my husband, I was throwing up for 4 days and it was terrible. It really is just like, subjective, but
yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
I
I've
would
had a
not
couple
trade
of things.
being a mother for anything.
No. And I mean, from that, a couple of things kind of come up for me, just as things that I've talked about this week. One of them is you can do anything for 60 seconds. So you can sort of like, if you go to that very, very small point of this is a contraction, and on average it lasts 60 seconds, and you can do anything for 60 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And you get a break before the next one comes.
Yeah.
And it's having that mindset of like, yeah, okay, so it is an intense pain, but it's not going to be an intense pain for the next 2 hours, for the next 3 days, for however long. It's 60 seconds.
Right.
and
And you're
take a
never going to
breath.
have that contraction again either. Like you get to
Yeah.
breathe that contraction away and it's not like adding another one, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well that one's gone. So we're almost there now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
one more step closer.
It's an uncomfortable little countdown, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing as well, going back to sort of like the pain relief thing, again, it isn't the same as stubbing your toe on a breakfast bar or whatever, because that is an immediate pain. You weren't expecting it and it does hurt and whatever. You
Yeah.
are building up to it, but there's all that other stuff going on in your body as well. So you've got all those endorphins and you've got all those other pain relief chemicals going around in your body that you're naturally doing. So it's like, yeah, okay, it is hurting, but there's a reason for it and you're getting relief naturally anyway. And don't get me wrong, it will still hurt, but
Exactly.
At this point, little baby Alexander joined us, so if you do hear him giggling and gurgling in the background, it's perfectly fine. He was the cutest baby, but as this is a podcast, you won't get to see him. Here we carry on our conversation.
you only have your experience to go from, which is what I always say to people. You only got your experience to go from. So how did it go about when you were saying, like, I don't want to have sort of medicalized, I don't want to be in hospital? How did that kind of go down with your support network and things like that? What happened?
Up until the day I gave birth, my mom was like, just, you know, remember you can ask for an epidural. And I kept telling her, I'm going to a birthing center, I cannot. So like, please stop putting that in my mind. I felt like a lot of people were like, well, why would you do that when you can have this? You know, why would you go through that when you can have this? And it's like, I plan on having more children, but I wanted to know what it felt like in a weird way. Like I wanted to know what my body is absolutely capable of. Like it grew a whole person. Like
Yeah.
Women have been having babies since the beginning of time. And how long have epidurals been around? And granted, I do understand, you know, that things can happen, absolutely. But if you have a good care team and a good support system, personally, my husband was super on board with it all. To this day, he still can't believe that I actually went through with it. But it really is like just a mind over matter thing. I mean, it is your body. It's your pain. It doesn't belong to somebody else. So like, if you go ahead and like, you own it and like, you're aware, like, okay, this is coming from me. This is the response that my body is going to give me. Like, it isn't an outside force hurting you. It taught me a lot about the strength that I have within myself and what exactly my human body is capable of, other than like binge eating muffins, you know, like you can do really cool things, you know, if you just set your mind to it and try. And there is a fear around the contractions and the pain and everything. And one of my good friends is actually pregnant right now, and she's thinking about a home birth, and she's scared of the pain. And I'm just telling her, like, it is yours. It is not an outside force hurting you. It is your body getting ready to give birth to a beautiful thing. So if you own it and you take leadership or ownership of it and make it personal, to be real, if you make it personal, you can get through it.
Yeah.
It's you against you, you know, like
absolutely.
You can get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it actually came to your birth then, are we having the 4-day long pukey version, or are we having the quick version of your way?
So I started having contractions on Thursday. I thought that my water had broke actually on Friday during the night. So we went out to the birthing center, and turns out that was not the case, but I was having like stronger and stronger contractions. I would say a little bit more intense than Braxton Hicks, if you will. So Friday rolls around, or Friday came and went. We went to the birthing center. Saturday, I was like still having them. I'm like, okay, we definitely are on our way. Like, definitely water broke. Let's go in. And we went in for a check, and still nothing. But I had started to dilate a little bit. So they were like, you're on the right track. He'll be here in like 48 hours, if that. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, we're on our way. That night we went home and it was rough. It was contraction. And then every time I stopped the contraction, I would throw up and I couldn't keep any food or water down. That lasted about, I'd say about 10 hours maybe. And we called my midwife, and that was like Sunday morning. And we called my midwife and told her what was going on. And she said, basically, she was like, wait, because they don't bring you until the very last second in a birthing center. So she was like, if you don't mind waiting, okay. If you don't mind waiting, she's like, just wait till your water breaks or something else happens. And I was like, okay. So sure enough, we went through what's called, darn it, I actually forget the name of it, but it's some sort of cycle where like you do different exercises, and she had me like on all fours, like just rocking on a ball.
Oh, like the mile circuit.
Yes, the mile circuit. Yes.
Yeah.
So we started the mile circuit. Thank you. And the second round of the second thing. So I was like laying on my side in bed. And my husband walked through the door, and I was like in the middle of a conversation with him, and my water broke. And this is just a testament to any mom out there. If you think your water broke, it did not. You will know your water will break. I thought it broke like 3 times before it broke, and then it was absolutely undeniable. I was like, oh, okay, it's broken. It's go time. So, I mean, total, I'd say I started having contractions Thursday. I gave birth to him 6:26 on Sunday. However, my water broke at 2 on Sunday. So active labor was only like 4.5 hours. Yeah. So the pushing part was easy for me. I'm very, very, very grateful for that. Very grateful.
And did you have anything at all in the end? Was it just you and baby? Did you have any? Because we have things like gas and air or paracetamol, which I think it's called Tenolol over there. And we've got things like that but a lot of people go, oh, well, it's not really medicine, when it is, but it's like a very sort of low level. Did you have anything at all, or were you completely drug free?
So when I had absolutely nothing. I bruised my husband's hands, and I'm pretty sure I like chipped a tooth chilling on the tub. I had a water birth. So that, I guess, I don't want to say a drug, but that did definitely help. Being in water for your birth is amazing. I just can't explain it. Like if like you're in a pool and like you pick somebody up, think of it like that. Like, oh, you can pick up like a 400-pound man in a pool because they weigh nothing. It has the same thing to your fetus. Like, please get in a tub if you can. It's the best thing. Plus the warm water and everything, it feels really, really great.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he was cool. The only thing that did happen when my water broke that I am actually recalling now is that there was some meconium when my water broke. So they were a little concerned that I might have to be actually transferred out to a hospital because it could be to a toxic level and they wouldn't have been prepared to handle that at the birthing center. But it literally got to the point where, like, if it had gotten any worse, I would have been transferred. But my labor was very, very quick. And so we didn't actually get to that point, but that is something to look out for as well. Because the amniotic fluid was brown and like a little bit reddish when it came out. So
yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Is there anything more about your birth story, your pregnancy, anything like that you want to add before I ask you about lactation biscuits?
My biggest takeaway is that, just for any pregnant moms out there, or anybody thinking about having a baby, your body is even more amazing than you even already think it is. And you will see that while you're going through your pregnancy, and you will see that in your labor, and you will see that when you have a child and in their face. You can do anything. So don't follow your heart. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. Follow your heart. Do what's right for you. If you feel like you need an epidural, you go get that epidural. If you feel like you can do it in your living room, you go do it in your living room. You do whatever you feel is right, and I promise that you will be successful at it.
Yeah, Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. So yeah, I know I keep laboring this point, but I really need to know what lactation cookies are.
Totally fine. So,
Because at the minute I'm like, is she like expressing her own milk and using that to make biscuits with? What's happening here?
so funny that you say that, because my husband's sister, we were out one time and she was like trying to promote my business, and she's like, yeah, my sister-in-law, she makes cookies with her breast milk. And I'm like, please don't tell people that. Please don't tell people that. I make cookies. That's so weird, right? I make cookies to help people in their breastfeeding journey. So we use whole ingredients. Specifically, a big thing over here in the States is everything is bad for you, honestly, like literally everything. So I try my best to like use ingredients that are not terrible. So we use like aluminum free baking powder or baking soda, all organic, all natural flour. Locally sourced honey is the sweetener in it. If we can't get that, it's all natural cane sugar. But we use a lot of flaxseed and brewer's yeast, which are directly linked to help in lactation production. So actually consuming the cookies will help you produce more milk and help you feed your baby better if you're having a problem with milk production. I have a couple clients that I'm working closely with right now because everybody's different. Everybody requires a different amount of support and help and different ingredients and what they need for their nutritional needs. So I have a couple clients right now that I'm working with that are on their breastfeeding journey. And when I can't donate milk to them, I'm helping them with their lactation cookie needs and satisfying a sweet tooth and helping feed some babies. So
amazing. That is so cool. So did you get into that? Was this something that happened to you? Did your milk not come in, or was this something that somebody else happened and you think, actually, I know how to help you with this? So like what kind of set that journey off for you?
So I was actually working corporate when I was pregnant with Alex, and right after my maternity leave, I got let go. Like I was back from work for like a week and then they let me go. So I figured that it would be time to spend more time with my son and do something that I love to do rather than work for the man. So I opened a bakery. It's called Hearth and Harmony. Well, it was called Hearth and Harmony. Now it's more like a motherhood lifestyle brand, if you will. But I started Hearth and Harmony. We were making chocolate chip cookies and Rice Krispie treats. We did a couple of different like events and shows and things and found out that the market was super, super saturated because everybody loves chocolate chip cookies. Let's be real. So everybody's making them. So I wanted to figure out a way to get more niche and help the people that the community that I'm in. And in going to a lot of local mom support groups and things like that, one of the common things that kept being brought up was breastfeeding and how good is formula and what should I do if I'm an underproducer and how much should I be pumping and things like that. And I did some research and was like, okay, well, let's see what whole ingredients directly are linked to milk production and what can I feed these people, because I'm a huge believer in food as a medicine. What can I help supplement in their diet that would help them with their babies? And then that was born. So then we started making some lactation cookies, and I gave a couple trials out and we did some muffins. So I have a friend who's a local photographer around here. She did breastfeeding like mini photo shoots for Breastfeeding Awareness Month, and I gave out my muffins there. People loved them, and then they just kind of like popped off. So it was a very small dream that kind of budded into something really beautiful. And now not only am I making some money and being able to stay home with my son, but I'm also helping fellow moms and their journeys and hopefully getting some nutrition into some babies out there.
Oh wow, that is awesome. I love it. That's brilliant. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you wanted to add before I stop the recording? Anything you wanted to sort of pop in there about your business, anything like that? Good idea if you give me your website or your social media handles, that would be cool.
Oh yeah, so you can find me at Hearth and Harmony _. Right now we run a motherhood lifestyle blog. I'm actually doing a challenge for the month of September called September from Scratch. And every day for the month of September, I myself am going to be cooking something completely from scratch and then posting the recipe. So if people want to join me on that journey, they will go ahead and get those recipes to their email and we can cook alongside each other. And every Wednesday I'll be going live and making something on live for people to follow along with and kind of connect.
A massive thank you to Victoria Ann and baby Alexander for sharing their beautiful and empowering birth story. It was such a joy to hear. And of course, we're so grateful for the handy tips on lactation cookies, and it's a must try for new mums out there. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us to connect with more people who need these empowering stories and conversations. All the information we discussed today, including links to Victoria Ann's lactation cookies and more, can be found in the show notes. Don't miss next week's episode. It's the amazing Nicole Hammock, a birth doula and photographer. It's an unmissable conversation where we explore not only the beauty of birth, but also dive into some expected yet vital topics. We go off on a bit of a tangent about women's rights, birth rights, and how governments are overstepping their bounds to infringe on basic human rights and govern women's bodies. Honestly, this episode is one of my favourites. It's powerful, thought-provoking, and timely. I'm also working on recording a follow-up episode with Nicole now that the US elections have been wrapped up, so stay tuned for that one. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.